Welcome back to another episode of the Pacific Calls podcast. We're on a roll. We're turkey talking still. This is episode 2 of our mouth read series.
Love it. Love it. We're here and we are being consistent.
We are. We're doing good.
Started off with that.
Yep. We're swapping the beers for coffee. That helps.
Still more active on it.
Yeah.
But
turkey season also is easy because I feel like everyone here likes talking turkeys more. Versus when we start talking duck and goose, then Alex thinks that all the goose hunters are gay, and Trevor thinks all the duck hunters are gay, and then it just kind of gets awkward.
It kind of turns into the headbutting.
Yeah.
On what's gay or not.
Sort of does. And then you look at it, and you're just like, turkey hunting, we can all be gay together.
We all love this.
Just kidding.
We all love this. But I guess first announcement, the final day for check-in for turkey registration. Last day of turkey registration to guarantee your packets is up as of Monday. Yep. I sent everything in. For the folks that still want to register, you can still register. It's still the same price. Not guaranteed a T-shirt. We will have a swag bag for you if you do register. So you will get that. But
get something.
You'll get something. We ordered extra T-shirts just in case. But right now we're damn near at 150.
Yep.
I already call it quits.
Should we talk about Friday before rodeo, or should we keep that under wraps?
No. We can bring it up. It's a good time to bring it up.
All right. So Friday, while we're setting up the day before the rodeo, we are going to be selling some specialty products. Do you want to hit on that?
Boss ammo is being sent out here to the shop, and everybody that's in the area coming in from out of town or in town, swing by the shop Friday, the day before the rodeo. We're going to have lunch. We're going to be cooking up some hot dogs and hamburgers, passing that out to everybody. Probably have some beers too, which I, usually do. So that, and then we'll have the Boss ammo to be purchased if you need some badass ammo to go turkey hunting with.
Yep, should be a good time.
I don't know what they're sending. I don't know exactly what they're sending, but they're sending all their turkey loads. So a bunch of it. So come in Friday before. We'll have all of our gear here for sale as well if you need more calls. And then
get ready for Saturday morning.
Come and bullshit with us. Talk about what you're going to go do, how big your bird is looking, and then get on the way.
Yep. Should be a good time. Okay, so episode 2. Today we're talking about tone, rhythm, cadence, the secrets to realistic turkey talk. Sort of a deal.
Sort of a deal.
That's
what you guys call it there, huh?
Yeah, that's what I've heard the folks say.
I just thought it was a topic that should be brought up because everyone talks about the style of calls, what they like, preference, blah, blah, blah. But then when you actually get in the woods, you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys know as well as me, you can get stuck on a forum for a long time. Usually it's just people bitching at each other.
It just turns into...
there's no real answers.
You're trying to find the one solid, idea from this one person, but then it just gets ransacked by 10,000 other comments about how they're wrong. So this is our opinion, folks. This is what has worked for us.
It's the only way.
It is the only way, says Wyatt. But yeah, no, I thought this would be a pretty good topic to bring up. So let's get after it.
I would agree. But I mean, as we all know, and when you're using mouth reads, when you're talking to turkeys, when you're out in those woods, you're not going to be perfect.
No.
Like there's like I touched on last time, my biggest pet peeve of mouth reads is I don't think I can control them that well.
Mm-hmm.
You guys had some other inputs, but that's just your opinions.
It's hard to be consistent.
It is. Well, it's hard to be consistent. It's hard to I don't know, when I'm hiking through a mountain, I don't have my mouth is dry. And so running a diaphragm during that, sometimes I can't get the right moisture level in my mouth, and sometimes it doesn't actually operate the way I need to, and I will gobble up a word a little bit or a note or a sound once in a while. And sometimes I don't think it actually hurts because not every hen sounds like every hen.
No. It's all different.
I can't gobble on a mouth reed, but if I tried, it would sound like a very high-pitched Jake half-ass, and I've heard them. It doesn't sound good to my ears, but I've heard it before. So
some mornings I chew on more gravel than others, and I just have it stuck in my craw, and I sound a little different,
But for all the waterfowl hunters out there that are used to calling competitions and hearing all these guys with their notes that they're able to do and the ranges from high to low, turkey competition is the same thing. Like you are taking an instrument and you are pushing it to the highest level and to the lowest level that it can get in a steady pattern or a rhythm and staying consistent with it. And it's the same thing. There is a structural way that these guys will go up on stage and go and compete. When they go to the woods, there is no structure besides like what they hear from the bird. So I want people to understand that. Like they can go on YouTube or Instagram or anything like that, and they can go listen to these amazing callers out there, and God, they are. But they're not doing all of that in the woods all the time. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I mean, you got to change things up. You got to learn how to read a bird. You're not doing that on stage. You're just reenacting different sequences. So it's, I think, two completely different things, and you could be great at one thing and be awful at the other. And I think a lot of your hardcore turkey hunters aren't always the best callers out there.
I think they're more of a woodsman than they are a caller.
Yeah.
I think being a woodsman is a higher priority than being a caller.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to understand what you're doing.
To understand your landscape, to understand how birds work, to understand all of it. I mean, all of it. Like this morning, we watched the sun rise, right? Birds did not leave that little section where the sun was at.
Right.
And so knowing that that's like where that line is, we probably would set up maybe a little bit different.
Yep.
Tomorrow morning if we go out.
On the other hand of being a woodsman, I mean, you still have to have in your back pocket, you have to know those sequences, right?
Yeah.
You don't absolutely have to, but you should.
You got to know the basics.
You should know what, and your limitations as well. That is, you should be well versed in that.
Yeah, totally. The different notes that I heard. So this morning we went out for Idaho Youth opener for old Wyatt.
Yep.
And
last youth opener.
Wah, wah, wah.
Feels tough.
How was the hunt this morning? Let's just get that off.
It was rough. I mean,
shoulders.
The start was slow. I was getting worried, and that's why I looked back and I was like, should I start calling yet? Because watching birds fly out of the roost, and it's like they just shut up. And the toms quit gobbling after I think they jumped out.
Yeah.
And we didn't see them come out, but the hens all started landing back towards the back of the property. I don't really know what to call that other than the garden, but yeah, they started landing back in that area, and they went quiet. So I mean, it was kind of a tough one this morning, but the weather was weird. The clouds kept breaking up, sun would come out and go away. But
we had some wind too.
The wind was heavy.
Yeah,
especially
I don't like turkey hunting in the wind.
No, and it was really cool to hear it because every time they would get windy, the birds would get real quiet or stop talking at all.
Yep.
So
when you'd feel that gust, then it was quiet out there.
Yep, they're vulnerable. They want to be able to hear everything around them. If they're making noise, they can't keep themselves safe. So yeah, I think that's another thing. I've never really picked up on that before.
Yeah.
But it's never been in and out like that when I've been hunting.
For me, throughout the years, learning about wind and how it affects our turkeys in our area, like I have my one property that I've been hunting consistently for, I don't know now, 13 years or whatever with Ernie. Like when it's windy, I know exactly where to go because they just follow this ridge in the trees. They will rarely come all the way out and strut or do their thing out in the field.
They want cover.
They just want cover. Yeah. And they're not loud. Like they don't even call. Like I can damn near from my blind, I can see them sitting on the hill. They're not shootable. They're 50, 60 yards away. I mean, you could, but I don't like that. So you can literally just watch them sit on the hill. And I don't know if they're staring at us or the decoys or what's going on. But when it's windy, man, they stay inside.
Yeah.
That's what last night I was up at a place around roosting time, and there was just not a single note anywhere. And it was windier than hell. Yeah. And there was just nothing.
Did you see lightning last night too?
Yeah, a little bit. And then a little bit of rain came in, and I knew that I wasn't going to hear them anyways. Yeah. So
after that last night, I kind of got weird about it. But I was also thinking about it this morning. Like, I'm pretty sure they moved their roost back a little bit because of the weather. They seemed like they were way farther back, and that's another thing that worried me. It's like, I can barely hear these turkeys gobbling, and it's like, this is not good. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure they weren't even on the neighbor's property. I think they were back one. So
I think there was still some.
There were some
in
close
that little
ones
in that little pinch point.
But
because we could watch them fly out,
right?
But I think majority of them were on the other side because you could see them through the trees as they were pitching out that way. And I think the wind was blocking that side of the hill.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was thinking, which is kind of cool to see because it's like, I mean, even last year we were watching turkeys jump off like damn near above our heads on the field edge. So I mean that was kind of interesting to see, and they have been on the edge lately. So I was kind of confused as to what happened. But I think that helped us today too, with how we had to set up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting out there and not being seen out in the open was pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, cover is number one.
Yeah,
like you got to have the cover. You got to be able to be hidden, and if you don't have that, then they're gonna pick you out. Especially 3 dudes, 1 guy with a gun, 2 cameras.
Yeah.
They would.
That's a lot.
Cameras, flare birds.
Well, cameras, flare birds. Not the cameraman, just the cameras.
Yep.
Specifically the cameras.
But on the roost today, we were listening to. I mean, it's pretty typical, right? You're going to hear the yelps. You're going to hear the gobbling from the turkeys or from the toms and jakes, and then you might even hear a hen gobble on the tree as well. On how they were all strutting around today.
Yeah, there's 4 of them.
3 or 4 hens that were strutting around out with the toms that were strutting.
God, they're almost prettier than the toms too.
Oh, they have that perfect fan.
Yeah.
Perfect fan.
Not beat up.
Not at all.
And it's so dark, and then all they have is their tips. Like,
yeah.
They almost have no color in
yeah,
it. Like,
yeah. Bright white tips. So.
Any of them bearded?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I took one photo of for sure a hen, bearded hen. She was close.
I'd seen 2 out there 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But I only saw 1 today.
It'd be interesting to know more of the genetics behind that.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're kind of getting off topic.
Going all
here.
over the board. But I guess the basic notes that you're going to hear on the roost are what, Wyatt?
Yelps, a gobble here and there. I don't think that they hammered too hard. I mean, they did a little bit this morning for a minute, but it was very quick. So yelps, I'd say you might hear a little putting, but once they fly down, you just hear their little fly down cackle. And
yeah, the fly down cackle is definitely the thing that I've been training myself over the years is because there's some hens that will just sit there and yelp 10, 12, 15 note sequences. Mm-hmm. And then they go quiet. It's was that their fly down cackle or what the hell was that?
Yeah. And I thought that too. That's why I pulled out my phone. So I was going to record them because I thought they were going to start flying out because of how quiet they got.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard that one bird do its fly down cackle, and I was like, oh, they're just now starting.
Yeah.
So.
I guess when they're on the roost and as a caller, are you calling?
I was thinking about doing it this morning,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the property's small enough and I know it well enough. I didn't really want to.
Yeah.
Because they were roosting pretty close, but I really want to start doing, my main thing is the toms seemed like they were roosted farther back than the hens,
Mm-hmm.
but I do want to start trying a fly down cackle sequence before the other hens get off to try and get that tom right off the roost.
Yeah.
I do want to try that, but if anything, maybe soft tree yelps, because where we were on our side, there was no birds roosting over there.
Mm-hmm.
The other side there was, so I'm wondering if, a little bit of calling, probably 30 minutes earlier than I did, would have helped pull them over a little bit faster.
Yeah, I've been trying to, over the years, I've been trying to, like I said, I was trying to, really train my ears to listen to the fly down cackle compared to the long note sequences that they have just sitting on the roost. But as soon as I start hearing the hens really starting to hammer pretty good, that's when I start doing a pretty light yelps.
Yep.
Really, really light. Nothing too crazy. No cuts. Just nice and light. And just so they know that there's something over in this area. And then as soon as I hear one that is actually flying down, and it's kind of because when here we go, Trevor. Words are hard. When one bird flies down, it starts. It's just a snowball effect. You got the next one. They're kind of doing it right after each other.
Yep.
And so then that's when I start hearing that right after the first or second one, I'm like, yep, they're doing it. Then that's when I will do a cut and I'll get excited and I will try to promote more sound and more, whatever's going on over where I'm set up.
That's another thing that I've been thinking about is if you do it too early, are they going to pick you out? So that's the main thing. So I kind of like that you just hit that. Once that first bird gets down, then you can get in the mix.
Yeah. And I don't do it every 30 seconds. I do it one time and then I'll wait 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'll do another one. It just kind of depends on how big the roost is and what birds are doing. But if it's a pretty large roost and there's more than 5 or 10 hens that are flying down, then I will definitely wait for that, first or second one to for sure fly down and then hammer on them for a second.
That's also kind of time of season and property dependent, in my opinion. Because once you got one down, you're kind of in the clear. I agree with that. But for example, this property really well.
Mm-hmm.
I know mine that I hunt really well. And if I make any noise before they're off that roost, then that's just a red flag for them. Because they're all in the same group year after year, and I think that they just know better. because
sure.
I have called once still on the roost, and it took them off their normal path. Took them 3 hours to come where they normally come right off the bat.
For sure. Well, and I think like a smaller roost too, they know where their hens are at.
Yeah.
You know, because how big is that roost that you guys are usually shooting?
This year it's big, but in the past it hasn't been very big at all.
And so if there's only a couple hens, like they're gonna know like this either is a really lost one that finally just showed up, or it's a person.
Yeah.
So
I don't think this morning would have mattered. They were so fucking loud.
no, I think you could have been aggressive. It's an earlier time of the year. You know, they're aggressive on the roost, and then off they were, you know, very vocal. And so I think you could have been loud and aggressive today and not have pushed them away.
Yeah.
But it's always hard to tell.
And then you go into talking loud and aggressive. So rhythm and cadence matter more than tone. Would you guys agree, disagree?
I would agree. I think rhythm matters a lot. It's the same with duck and goose calling.
Yeah, and I think with tone too, you get so many different birds that don't always, you know, themselves don't always have the perfect tone.
No.
So
they all have different tones. I mean, we heard a dark, deep, raspy hen to a really high pitched.
She was going almost all morning.
Yeah, we had one hen that was literally sitting in front of the decoy, I don't know, for like 4 minutes and just going yop 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 yop, and then she would just get deep yop yop. I mean, she was aggressive.
Yeah, she was like,
she was raspy.
Yeah,
she was an old hen.
She was looking to fight.
Yeah,
I pissed her off
for sure. Yeah, no, it was fun to watch that. And just get them up close and watch. I almost like watching hens get more mad than tom. Like it's fun watching toms beat up a decoy. I've had hens beat up decoys, but watching that hen just be super aggressive and just barking at us right back at Wyatt,
just getting pissed.
like that's fun to me.
Yeah, pretty much went back and forth all morning.
So rhythm and cadence definitely more important than tone. And then you get into your tone, building realism into your calling. What are some good pieces of advice, do you think, for building realism? Do you think that comes back to your cadence more than your rhythm? Do you think it's a good mix?
I think it's a good mix. I mean, you're going to definitely have to be able to, you know, yelp 4 to 6 times consistently at a good rhythm to sound like a turkey. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes they just do one yelp and then they'll shut up.
Yeah.
So it varies. It's really hard to like pinpoint like, oh, they always do this, so you have to do this. But if you can have that same rhythm that a bird would have, then I think that sounds more realistic than being like having the perfect yelp and not even knowing how to throw it in on a sequence.
Yeah. Just sounding almost too unreal if you're not mixing in a good sequence.
100%.
I think you need to be really inconsistent because like you listen to a hen yelp and she'll start out super high pitch and then she'll end super deep, and I like, and then you also hear them like pause in the middle of their yelp sequence, take like a short pause. So I think breaking things up and changing not necessarily the whole sound, but like different variables to it, like a little bit of a higher pitch. Like I heard a hen this morning that did like 3 whistles and then yelped twice deep as shit. And it's like, sounded like 2 different birds, but it was the same one. I mean, she was right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So
being able to mix up your tones is huge.
Yeah.
From a raspy, you want to give an example of like a raspy yelp?
A raspy one?
Yeah. And then you got a cleaner one. So for the people that are listening, Wyatt was just doing 2 different yelps. One was a raspier one. What are you doing different? Less pressure?
If I'm doing a cleaner one, less pressure, and I'm doing more air like passing by, and I'm putting a little bit more pressure on the open face of the cut. That's gonna like give you your whistles or your front end. On that one, if I'm doing a deeper one, I'm just gonna try to go right down the middle of the reed where I have my big chunk, like on the bat wing, right down the middle. And it's just different air presentation, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit more tight if I'm doing it raspy. If I'm doing it with more of a high pitch or cleaner yelp, I'm gonna open it up more. Try to push a little bit more air over that reed, get that front end to break before I get into the back end of the yelp.
Yep. Well, it sounds about right to me. So we got down to, the main thing is we were talking about rhythm.
Yeah.
And when it comes to when the birds hit the ground, it doesn't change. It just kind of it changes on their direction and what For me, the hardest thing about turkey hunting compared to like goose hunting is I can't see the birds all the time.
Yeah.
And they're not vocal all the time, and they don't always respond. And so I'd sit there and drive myself nuts because I can't see the reaction when I do a yelp or a purr or something like that. I only just have to wait to see if they pop over the hill. And so that's one of my personal hatreds.
Well, yeah, it's great when you got them coming in on a line right away, but also it's like I think the hard thing about turkey hunting is read the room, know your birds. It's going to be frustrating, but like our birds up here are going to be way different than birds down in Georgia or something. They're going to react different. They're going to be different vocally. I mean, hell, even from opening day on next Tuesday to May, it's going to be completely different.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it'll just get warmer and it'll get. To me, it gets a little more fun.
Yeah,
birds. I mean, they're aggressive. They're a little aggressive right now. We're seeing them in the daytime being aggressive, but like right off the roost, they're still like today. They were all still bunched up.
Yeah,
there was 2 different roosts, and the 2 different roosts definitely hung out with themselves. So you had one roost that was on our property, and the other roost was off our property. And the one that was on our property, obviously we saw that first because they pitched down, came up, strutted in that sun, and then after all the vocalization that was going from Wyatt and from the other birds, we started pulling across the street and over down, a ways, and they started all coming up, and we had the 2 toms ripping, coming up through that front part of that pasture and gobbling their faces off.
Yeah, I thought I heard a gobble pretty far away early in the morning. I was trying to figure out where it was coming from.
No, there was definitely like a separate gobble that was coming off of that right side.
And if it's where I'm thinking of and where they came out of, they're like 400 yards away. So, I mean, it was pretty impressive for them to come all the way over. Because I kept hearing like really soft yelps over there. Because you asked if they had gone down past the barn into the pasture. And I was like, I think that might be a different roost. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure my birds stick pretty close unless they want to be down there. But they're usually on the other side where the sun hits first. Mm-hmm. So,
let's see here. When we were going over just different sequences, for me personally, when the birds hit and they were out there in the middle of that field and just hearing how vocal they were, I would like to cut. I would like to cut that boss hen off. And there was 3 different boss hens, it seemed like, that were being very responsive. And to piss one of those off would be my goal, is to get that one to cut her off with my cuts, and then to start purring back and forth like they were like 2 hens were fighting each other. Mm-hmm. And I think that's that's one of my sequences that I like to run in the field.
Yeah.
What about you?
I was trying to cut her off with my yelps, and I was kind of trying to read the bird. Like I wanted her to also cut at me, because in the past, the hens that I have pissed off that I've gotten to bring their toms over, they usually cut at me first. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really hear that hen cut too much. It just seemed like she wanted to bark the whole time. But I couldn't get my fucking lips wet enough this morning to feel comfortable doing that. Like, I did not want to start cutting super hard and then fuck it up and then have them looking at me all weird.
That's why I do love the First Light turkey vest, because it has the water bag.
Yeah.
What is it called? The camelback.
Yeah.
Because you can easily just grab that rope.
Yeah. No,
that'd definitely help out.
Probably should have got that set up this morning. Yeah, my lips were all dry in the merino cover, and I was like, oh no. But the yelps are pretty easy. I mean, your mouth stays pretty moisturized, but I'm trying to lick my lips but not get my face mask wet because that's uncomfortable as shit. So it was pretty awkward. And I cut a couple of times, but I probably should have, when those toms came to check us out, because they came from a far away and they left their hens, I should have gotten pretty aggressive, and I was just happy they were gobbling.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But
yeah. No, we definitely got some good content, but didn't get the shot lined up for you.
No, and I'm just curious if it was that, like if it was the sun or if it was the calling, because they did not seem like any of the birds when they were in their group wanted to break off that sun line. Mm-mm. Like I just don't think that they wanted to, and at the point where all the birds were pretty close, where they weren't just sticking up a little bit above the hill, they were actually on it. Mm-hmm. Like if that one big tom would have broken off a little bit more, I probably would have taken them. But yeah, I don't know.
But they definitely weren't eager to leave their group and to go beat up. The hens came over.
Yeah,
but the toms did not.
I mean, it's still, with it being this early. I mean, would you leave a group of ladies?
No, but the thing is like they're mating like actually like really heavy right now.
Yeah.
So you'd think that they'd want to like protect theirs, and like you see a Jake that's following one of their hens away into their own little ground. Like you kind of, I don't know. I was thinking
again, they haven't had any competition. Probably from the sounds of it, if those two groups are doing their own things.
No, I mean,
they were definitely breeding in the. I mean, the whole one of the roosts that came out. I mean, they were all breeding.
Yeah,
like there was a Jake breeding, there was a Tom breeding.
That Tom went like 5 rounds with that one.
I think there was even a hen trying to breed another one. Like they were all fine hanging out in their little deal that they had going on out there.
It was a P Diddy party over there.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty. But yeah, I like I said, there's a lot of factors that came into it. Would we have been better if we would have had a 3/4 strut rather than a quarter strut?
I think a strut might have done it, because I mean, just seeing how they all bunched up together, strutting. I mean, maybe not, but I think that's a little bit more aggressive than a quarter strut, because like he's not really showing anything off versus all the other birds are strutting. I mean, fuck, the hens were all trying to get up too. So
I would like to know more about the sunlight thing from other hunters if they run into that. I'm a firm believer in it, because I think they pitch out into the sun most of the time, especially the areas that we're hunting, the style landscape that we've been hunting, and then they will stay in that until they're done breeding, until they're done eating whatever they're trying to grab up, and then just kind of moving along. Then that's after all that. Then to me, that's when they get more aggressive. I love shooting toms from like 9:30 to noon, or 10 to 1. Like I think that is one of my favorite times, because you can actually, I feel like you can manipulate that tom a little bit easier rather than trying to pull it from that whole flock, because there's no way that tom.
No,
today
he doesn't need to leave.
Why would he need to leave? He's got like 10 hens sitting right there.
Right.
He's gonna be worn out after the third one.
I love the evening hunts too, like right before they're trying to go to
when they're in the tree.
Yeah, those ones.
Shoot them off.
But I've also never had any luck. I've never killed a bird late afternoon.
I think that's almost one of the harder times to do it. We tried that, was it 2 years ago up at Garrett's?
Yeah.
And Wilson was the only one that was able to shoot one, and that was even kind of a stretch.
And me and Zach got him close and then realized we were under the roost.
Yep.
We were like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, but they're kind of on their own path. They're on their own track. They're not really eager to go fight or breed at that point. They're
sassy.
That's it. Like they've already gone through the whole pressure portion of the day, and now it's kind of like relax and let's get back home before we get eaten up by a coyote or something.
Yeah.
So,
I'd probably say the sun thing would make sense, just with how they pitched off the roost and went down to that side.
Yeah.
But when the sun came up, you know where they wanted to be, which was right where we were. The sun just didn't get up high enough yet.
Right.
So.
Right. And that's a different landscape compared to what people deal with, like, let's call it the Midwest or down towards Oklahoma. And it's just flat ground, right? Yeah. And they have tree lines that break it up. They don't have a lot of hills. I mean, I know like Wyoming, South Dakota, there's hills. There's hills throughout the country. I understand that, folks. But still, it's not like our mountains here or other mountains in Montana or where, what you will, that's going to have that huge break point of the shade to sun.
There's also, you got to wonder, last night we ended on a rainy note, a rainy evening.
Stormy
yeah,
evening.
So you got to wonder if that mixed with the sun coming out first thing this morning, I mean, it's got to change them up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they were, as soon as the sun started to hit right in the right spot, you could just see fans popping up, fan. So, like, once that got out, I think they're ready to go. But with the weather that they've been having and how early it is, I don't think that they need a breed. But if they have the temperature that they want to be in and they can show off their fan to the ladies and let them know what they're about, I think that they're definitely going to get their humps in. So,
yep, totally. One of the things that I want to point out there is to the folks that are getting into it, don't be a robot. Don't keep using the same note over and over. Break it up a little bit. Break it up with either a different pitch, different sequence, or different notes.
Yeah.
Because the turkey's not always making a yelp, or it's not always purring.
Quite frankly, maybe shut up sometimes.
But 10,000%. Like, you don't always have to call. It's just like, I'll go back to duck and goose calling. Like, when you're hunting, you don't always have to call them into the spot. You can manipulate them until they don't want to be manipulated anymore, and they're going to run their own course. But there's days that you have to stay on them for them to finish in the pocket.
100%.
Yeah.
So, but that's one of my biggest tips is, like, just don't repeat yourself over and over and over and over, and break it up. So, any tips out there for the folks in different segments?
I was going to ask your guys' opinion, kind of kind of goes with what we're talking about. If you know a bird, you got a tom, he sees your decoys, and he's interested. Are you guys getting louder or backing off a little bit?
I mean, is he running or is he looking?
No, he's just curious.
He's just curious. I'm going to give him a little soft stuff, but I'm not going to go crazy. But like this morning when they did that to me, I probably should have gotten pretty heavy. I think it just depends on the time of the year and how he's vocalizing with you.
Yeah, I think it's, what does it look like? How, is he sitting there staring at you at 80 yards and not moving? Then try new shit. See what happens. But obviously try to watch what this bird is responding to. Is it responding to a cut? Okay, then maybe stay on the cuts. Is it better to a purr and it keeps kind of walking and looking up at your decoys when you're purring? Then stick to that. So just stick to with what you're the most comfortable at doing on a note or on a call. And if it's not working, then you're gonna have to pull out the other tools.
Don't look him in the eyes.
Try something.
Don't look him in the eyes. Don't breathe and don't look him in the eyes. But I think that's kind of all I got right now for sequences and whatnot.
Does it pretty good.
I think so.
Stay tuned also to our YouTube channel.
Yep.
I have some more videos coming out there for folks.
We will. We have episode 1, 2, and 3 off the beginner pack, and you guys can go and purchase that online. And then there is a YouTube channel for videos 1, 2, and 3 on our YouTube channel, and that will go over everything about a diaphragm, from how they're made to your airflow to how to start presenting the right airflow into it, and then the basic notes is what we're going to start working on.
Yeah.
So
are we going to have another podcast before opener here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure. Yeah, we'll get everyone rocking and rolling.
We'll get you back on this week once you kill that bird.
Tonight?
Yeah, hopefully it's tomorrow we're back on here.
I do know where the roost is, so we're probably fine.
Right on. All right, folks, we'll see you later.
See ya.
Know the truth, 'cause I ain't